This conference will now be recorded.
Just once, all right. Good evening or good afternoon. The time being 4:45 p.m., I'd like to call the meeting of June 17th, 2021 to order. Before we get started, if you are joining us virtually, please mute your microphone during the meeting unless you want to speak. Otherwise, background noise will interfere with the meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First on our agenda, bring the minutes of June 8th to the floor for discussion.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of the June 8th emergency meeting.
Ruggles, second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Bring the minutes of June 10th to the floor for discussion.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of June 10th.
Jessamine, second.
The motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. That was easy. All right.
If it's for me, I'm not here.
No, it's Chief Seatar. Let me just make sure that's our next person. Anyways, so we have a couple of minutes before our first guest is here. I feel like we have more that we have to discuss, but maybe not.
Could always start Selectmen's reports.
We could. Pat, can you squeeze yours in since you're first?
Yep, the MOUs, I met with the town administrator in Northfield. He's presented it to the selectmen, I think last Tuesday. I will be meeting with him this Tuesday, and I will also be meeting with Semberton. I got an email from Community Action, Cindy, who's our program director at the senior center. Hi, Pat. CAP is now allowing coffee and snacks to be served and has dropped having a limited number of people for activities. We are currently doing game days Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoons, 11:45 to 1:45 p.m. A woodworkers group has started coming in Monday mornings, 9 to 11. CAP says info about serving meals should be coming very soon. That's it for me.
Very exciting.
Very exciting. And very exciting that there's a woodworking group coming in.
Well, I was going to say, do you have anything to do with the woodworking group?
I do not have anything. I know of the person that's doing the woodworking from Laconia. It's carving, whittling, and that kind of woodworking.
If you could email me like the schedule stuff, I'll make a Facebook post on my Facebook pages and
I'll just forward this along to you, okay?
thank you. Anything else, Pat?
That's it.
All right, moving right along. Scott Ruggles, can you squeeze anything you have in 10 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very quick one, but thanks to all of the members of our police department, the other departments, the emergency responders who responded to what was obviously a pretty significant accident on Tuesday night over here on Route 3 in front of the 99. I know because I was actually out and had to take the detour, but handled very, very well. Watched everything sort of unfold at the other end of the road. So many, many thanks to them. Other than that, I'm all done.
Joe Jessman.
Just that I've reached out to the other towns involved in the perambulation effort, and I've heard back from Belmont. Sort of, we're playing voicemail tag right now.
Very nice.
That's it.
That's it. All right. The only thing I had, I wrote it down here, was the fireworks for July 24th. So I'm confused, confuddled. So we have two options before us, and I just want to get clarification on which option I am going for.
Well, the Parks was going to meet Monday night.
Yes, and the Parks wanted to hold it at Riverfront, but I've been told that and I don't remember what the discussion was from the video, but the board was not, did not want to have to clean up Arch Park. So I just want to get clarification on which way are we going to go.
I don't think that was the case. I think we left it up to the Parks Department which way they wanted to go with it.
Okay.
I thought that's the way it was.
Okay, that's how I presented it, but I just wanted to make sure. But someone there said that they thought that they didn't want us to clean the arch because our highway department has to clean up afterwards. And there'll be some of us that goes up Sunday after the fireworks show and does some cleanup. So, and I'm going to fly my drone over Arch Park on Saturday so that we know
Before and after.
exactly. So
they're going to have it at Riverfront.
that's the plan. And so the original budget for that fireworks show has been almost doubled now, one through an anonymous donation and us increasing our budget. We increased the budget and someone matched the budget. They made a donation, so it's going to be a heck of a fireworks show.
Oh, I think I'll move my dogs out west for the weekend.
Yeah.
So what budget does the cleaning of the parks come out of?
Parks.
Parks.
And cleaning the
The
arch up?
labor they'll have to be charged to the Parks Department.
Labor, and you said there was no charge for detail, right?
Nope, the police is not, when he finally put pencil to paper, it was much significantly less than what they originally thought it was going to be. And he's like, I'll eat it in my budget. It's the bottom line budget. I'll eat it. And, so it's good. We're good to go. So the only cost, if you will, is going to be taking our highway department and spending the time to clean up. But again, some of us from the Parks Commission are going to go there and clean up on Sunday as well to help and hopefully expedite it. And that's July 24th.
I'll help.
Yeah, I'll come down and help too. I think,
I'll mark it in my calendar.
And then I also wanted to thank for the other, so we're good with the Riverfront Park. Okay. Wanted to thank John Scanlon and Scott Ruggles for taking care of Squantum. Cleaning, looks nice and shiny and ready to go for another year. Another year of standing out there in the sun.
maskless.
Maskless. Oh, it's the mask off.
It had already come off.
Oh, had it? Okay. It probably
Quantum-
fell off over time.
Quantum heard what the governor said
Oh.
and removed his own mask.
Excellent. Anything else? Oh, I'm all done. So, John, do you have anything?
So Saturday morning, we actually postponed a little bit because it was a little chilly and wanted to get the water to dry. So we started around 11 o'clock. Scott came down. I want to thank the hair salon there. Was it Thomas Richard salon. They were very accommodating with the hose and the water and more than excited to have us do it. So we went through, we did wash the statue, which has to be done with special soap, and waxed it. We did notice there are some places where the paint had been starting to flake. We put an extra heavy coat of wax on there. So I think we caught it in time to prevent it from really deteriorating. The next thing is the soldiers monument that has to get done so that that doesn't fall behind and, have to get completely redone again as opposed to just the wash and wax. It's going to take a little more work because of the size and the height of it, but looking forward to that. And Joe,
What does the cleaning of that statue entail?
well, getting up there, the height
Yeah, yeah.
that's one of the big things. Some of the granite, there's some trees and all that are growing on it, so that will have to be washed. And afterwards, I think that will get done. But somehow we have to coordinate getting water to there. We don't need much water. It's really just, a rinse and a soap. It's not like you don't ever pressure wash one of those. So we'll need water, possibly some drums of water and some way of pumping it, or a bucket brigade, or some other method, or maybe the owner of the house there, we might be run, or possibly even going across from the riverfront, running off that building. And then after wash, it has to dry and then be hand buffed with, or applied with the wax and then buffed. It's a little tedious, but it's kind of fun, it's,
Therapeutic, I imagine.
well, we get,
Therapeutic, maybe.
yeah, it's a feel good thing too. So that was, that's the next thing we have to do. I want to talk to the rest of the board and to Kevin. One of the things that we've noticed over the years, I think, is that on the island, the roots of the trees have become exposed and bare, which is causing, they get either scalped with mowers or worn down by people walking. Kevin has an abundance of loam right now. What I think would be nice to do is if we could get a bunch of people together, a wheelbarrow brigade, have the dirt on the other side, and people help out, bring your own wheelbarrow, and bring the dirt over and start away from the gazebo. And start covering some of those roots in the low areas where we can start protecting those trees and those roots and make it easier to mow. So that's got to be something we'll have to talk to, Kevin, coordinate it all, but
After the concert series.
or even before for that part, back the other end of the island, then after the concerts, do up near where the,
You
like
do it
September,
before the kids will run on it.
like September. Well,
That's my only concern, because during the concerts, the kids run around.
just, small areas and get done, a little bit at a time. But the other thing is the rose bushes took hold really, really well.
They did a lot.
And they're
yeah.
blooming profusely. Went over and, anybody who is going through the area, grab a bucket of water and run down to the river, fetch a pail of water and water the roses. And the other plants up there, keep them going. The other thing is there were some people hanging out in the gazebo drinking, or a person. I think we might need to address the electric outlets being on, because that is something that attracts people to kind of just hang out there and party and run their phones and charge their phones.
Aren't they on a timer
Not
in
those.
the box?
Just lights.
Just the lights?
That's something to look into.
Everything shuts down.
How much electricity do we use at the park?
At the island? Not much.
Much,
It's
just
went
a
down
question of
since
the
we
price.
went from the, we had 200-watt bulbs, and I think there's 8 lanterns down to LEDs. They finally came up with the real bright ones. And that, I think our electric bill is like 1/10 what it was.
Nice.
I heard somebody that's going to sleep.
And I don't know if having electricity there if somebody needs to charge their phone or use their laptop while they sit at the park,
Gotta think of something.
you know, I understand what you're saying, but I'd
Be
like
other
to
ways to deal with
leave them on.
During the
Do
day,
A
leave,
little more
yeah.
patrols maybe through there.
bit more patrol, yeah.
All right. I'm
Anyway,
gonna,
that's it for me.
all right, excellent.
Good timing.
Eric, I have just one real quick thing,
Sure.
real quick that I forgot. I had it on my list. I wanted to thank the Coca-Cola company for coming over. They donated a Coca-Cola machine, which is our commercial refrigerator, which allows us to have a commercial kitchen at the senior center. Well, it went on the fritz a week or so ago, and we called them and they came right over and they donated their services and they fixed it, repaired it. It's good for another 10 years. So I wanted to thank them publicly for it. That's it.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid presentation. Chief Goldman is here from Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, and as well as Mike Sitar, the Tilton Northfield Fire Chief. But you guys can sit next to each other so that,
That button down.
yeah,
Yep.
make sure it's green. There you
All right.
go. Just make sure it's up so you can project it. It is recorded.
Okay.
And we show it on, we put it on our website for people to watch.
Sure.
Because we don't do that.
All right. Would you like me to do the same
So
presentation?
the
basically?
reason why I asked Chief Goldman to be on the agenda is that come explain how it works, number one. I found the first time you talked to the fire commission, very informative, but in a nutshell, the town of Northfield is looking to withdraw, is a good word to put, as the town of Northfield is looking to withdraw from membership in the Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, which one would have an impact on the town of Tilton, and better than us, and it would affect our tax rate, I assume, at some point. And so I thought I'd have him come here and present to us and explain what's going on, how it works. And as I say, I found it very informative. So in
Sure.
case that anyone on the board had never heard.
I appreciate the invite. I've basically made the same presentation to the fire commissioners and to the Northfield Selectmen last week, I think it was. So for those who are not familiar or don't necessarily know, Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid's been in existence since 1951. The association, as we could call it, or Lakes Region, really began dispatching in the early 70s. And then in about 2000 I say built, but took over and co-located on the old state school property next to the 911 PSAP. So we pay a whopping $16.72 a year for rent, and then like $700 a month roughly for electricity. So we get the ability to use their generator, their battery. The whole building's on a battery system. It's a building that if I were to build a comm center, it would be very similar to that. And we enjoy a great relationship with them. So what we do is primarily the emergency communications, mutual aid coordination, and then we also have a training division for 35 communities in the Lakes region. And our training division hosts quarterly trainings that are attended by people as far away as New York. So they do a great job. As far as the dispatchers are concerned, we have, certainly I'm a little partial. I would say we have the best dispatchers in the state, but I can back that up with certainly we have the highest trained in the state. We have pretty strict standards for hiring, continuing education, and the only dispatch center in the state that has an accredited quality improvement program. So we use that to determine, is it a system problem, a person problem, a training problem? Every one of a certain percentage of our calls are QA'd monthly. And the training and certification that our staff has is we possess as a group some of the highest level certifications that you can have in the industry, not just in New Hampshire. 90% of what we do is the dispatch. That's, the rest of it is all great. I love it. It's a wonderful part of the job, but it's the nuts and bolts of what we do is the dispatch services. Mutual aid coordination used to be a much bigger deal before the advent of computer aided dispatch systems, right? So now everything's based through the computer system. It's all pre-designed. How it works is our communities become the member. It's not necessarily the fire department, it's the community is the member. The community then typically selects somebody, it's usually their fire chief, to be on the board of directors. So there's 35 members on the board of directors. Amongst themselves, they elect 5 to become the executive committee. I look at the executive committee like my board of selectmen, right? That's the 5 that I deal with monthly. And then quarterly, we all get together and have a full board meeting. So the full board is kind of like every town meeting has that group of citizens that show up every town meeting, all those types of things. And I'm the vice chair of my board of selectmen. I've been doing that for way too long. So I took 1 year off and somehow got roped back in. But so that's how I kind of envision it. And then from there, it's just the rest of the district is kind of just the townspeople. So each community is a member. Each community picks their representative, if you will, to the board of directors. Chief Sitar is Tilton's representative and Tilton's, let me rephrase that, is Tilton's board of director member and also happens to serve as the chair of the executive committee. So he's my boss and really the boss of the whole organization. So when I say communities become the member, it's because it's the community. So we will dispatch your fire and ambulance, obviously, and coordinate all your mutual aid, but primarily your fire and ambulance, whoever you want. So some communities, we dispatch their fire department and their private ambulance service that they contract with. Some communities like Guilford doesn't have private ambulance, they do it themselves, so we dispatch them. In the case of Tilton and Northfield, because both communities have told us to, we dispatch the Tilton Northfield Fire District. So the district itself is not the member, and it's probably designed that way on purpose because Tilton and Northfield each have a representative and a voice at the board of selectmen, at the board meeting, at the board level, right? Tilton has given Chief Sitar their blessing to represent them. Northfield has not given anybody in years a voice. So they have a seat at the table. They've never exercised it, at least in the 4.5 years I've been there. And history dates back to at least 7 or 8 years that it's never happened. The reason I preface that with that is what Northfield seems to be trying to do. They don't necessarily have a problem with the service or, quite honestly, the cost in our discussions with them. They want to withdraw from the mutual aid district. Theoretically, well, they don't necessarily care if Tilton withdraws. They want to push their cost into the fire district and make it a bill of the fire district. Make the fire district become the member. The difficulty with that is arguably Tilton would still remain a member of the district, but the Tilton Northfield Fire District, their formula is how that bill would get paid. So in essence, the fire commission formula is 60-40 roughly. So that's based on the assessed value. So Tilton would pay more of that price because it would get doled out through the fire commissions. If both Tilton and Northfield were to withdraw and then have the fire district join which is legal, it's possible. Same scenario though, both bills become one bill of the fire district and get paid according to the fire district's formula. Right now, Tilton pays $41,128 a year. Northfield pays $42,999. I can leave this with you if you want. It was left with Northfield, so I'm trying very hard to give all 3 entities the same presentation numbers so that it's okay. So they pay together about $84,128 for dispatch services. If Tilton Northfield Fire Department became the district member and Tilton and Northfield withdrew, it would be $77,283 divided by however the district's formula works. In that scenario, it's a net loss to the district of $6,800 and $6,845. It's not a big deal for us. It's not the end of the world. Where it becomes an issue though is our formula is based on assessed value, valuation, population, and there's a 10% fixed factor. So we take the budget for, we'll say in August, I'll present the 2022 budget to the executive committee. We'll present it to the full board in September. Whatever that number is, say it's $1.3 million hypothetically. 10% of that, 130,000, gets equally divided amongst 35 communities. And then the rest of everybody's assessment is based on valuation and population. Tilton and Northfield were to withdraw, that formula would be based on 34 communities, not 35, because we gain one but lose two, so the net is one. That will increase the other 34 members' assessments because it just changes the math, right? It's just a simple math equation. The other concern that I have, and we try to stay as apolitical as possible. I'm trying to just give everybody the facts. How you do it, what you do it is really between yourselves, Tilton, yourselves, Northfield, and the district, fire district. The issue that one of the issues that I see, obviously the first one being the net loss of $6,800. It's not the end of the world, but it is a net loss to us. More importantly, our bylaws are very clear that to join Lakes Region Mutual Fire Aid, it has to be a vote of the board. I can't speak for what the board will do or not do. I've seen them go crazy over things that are like $28 for water, stuff, just crazy stuff. And I've seen them completely pass other things that are, you would think there'd be more discussion. I can't say that they would be spiteful or would not be, I don't know, but they all need to vote in the best manner that's favorable for their communities. So if Tilton and Northfield pulls out, it's not necessarily, I can't guarantee you that the district would be allowed back in as a member. I don't necessarily see it being a problem, but much like boards of selectmen, and as I said, I sit on my board of selectmen, some of the weirdest things come out of these meetings and you're like, how did that happen? And the way the wind blew that day, that 3 out of 5 said they did or didn't want to do whatever that thing is. So in this case, it's 35 communities. I've spoken to a couple of other fire chiefs. There may be some mutual aid impacts as well that they can deal with amongst themselves and deal with Chief Sitar, but we try and stay as apolitical, as I said. The perfect scenario for us, for the district, and really I think for everybody, is Tilton and Northfield both maintain membership as they do today. And either you guys pay your bills the way you do it, or you pass your bills on to the fire district and then split that however the district formula works. But that's probably not the most favored way for Tilton to do it because the way your formula, the district formula, fire district formula works. But best example is everybody just carries on. I mean, we're talking about a difference of $100, which between what they pay and what Northfield actually pays a little more than you. So between what you pay and what Northfield pays is, $1,800 or so. That's not a lot of money, but the difference will be when they apply the total value of 77,283 to the fire district formula. That's where you'll see it become much more lopsided. So in our discussions with Northfield last week or the week before, that's not necessarily what they want to do. They just want to pull out and push the bill to the fire commissioners. Legally, that's between you guys. I don't know if they can just do that or if it has to go to a district vote or how that works, but they don't necessarily, it seems, to care whether Tilton pulls out or not. They want the fire district to just become the customer instead of Northfield, which would keep it at 35, I guess, which wouldn't necessarily, so the 6,800 wouldn't necessarily be the number, but there would still be a net loss to the district. So I know it's a ton of information. It may be foreign to some of you and you may not necessarily grasp the concept of the dollars that we're talking about, but and how the mutual aid district functions, but it is a big deal for us, and it is something that we're somewhat concerned about, and we're happy to come out and have these meetings so that people can understand where we're coming from and what we think the best options would be. Cover it all?
Anyone have any questions for Chief Goldman? Pat, you got your calculator out.
I'm
She's-
calculating I want to know, I was just looking at what the cost was if we actually went to the 77, if we actually went to the district, what our cost, what Tilton's cost would be. 49.
So in essence, it's a chess game to push expenses from one community onto another community. $6,800 for us, it's money, don't get me wrong, but the operation's not going to stop, right? There's other intangible factors at play that everybody needs to consider.
What's the timeline when they have to let you know whether they're withdrawing or not?
So anybody can withdraw at any time. Typically, you need to, if you have to give 1 year's notice.
Yep.
No, let me rephrase that. 180 days notice.
Mhm.
But if on the 180th day, it goes into the next budget year, you're on the hook for the whole budget. So theoretically, June 30th would be the deadline.
So they have to let you know before June 30th whether they're pulling out or not.
And if it's after June 30th, they are still absolutely able to do that. It's going to push into January 1 or 2, and legally, they would be on the hook for the entire budget. Doesn't mean they couldn't pull out. They could still absolutely do everything you guys just talked about, or that we've talked about, but they're still going to owe me on this year's numbers, $42,999. The other part to consider is this district has a history of being cooperative, right, and doing what's right for the district. We had an issue a few years ago, Warren, New Hampshire, that we wanted to put another radio site there. Barnstead Fire Chief, who will never, ever, it is a bad day if he's talking in Warren, New Hampshire from Barnstead. He made the motion to make this happen because it was better for the district. It was cooperative. Someday he might need something at his end and he wants the northern end of the district to support him. So the board always does what's right for the group, right? So 2019, one of my missions when I got here was given to me was our radio system was in pretty significant disrepair and it needed to be replaced. I spent probably the first 2 years amongst doing other things, but a huge part of my time working on a radio system. The board made the motion in May of 19 to spend up to $900,000 on a radio system. We built it we built the funding in such a way that it comes out of the capital reserve fund. The only thing that any local community was going to be on the hook for was $1,250 a year for 4 years. That was it. Last year with unexpended funds, so it's $87,500. If you take 35 towns times 1,250. Last year with unexpended funds, the board chose to put those into a reserve account specifically to waive years 1 and 2. And this year they did the same for years 3 and 4. So there's no local cost to any of the communities for this radio system. Where I bring that up is we've paid one payment. There's probably another, the invoice is probably coming on the loan. Beginning of July, it's when it's due. No local community has paid a dime on that, but every local community was involved or had the opportunity to be involved. So if you take 900,000 divided by 35 is roughly 25,000 and change. That's going to be an out number for somebody. Whether if somebody decides to withdraw, if it's this year, it's going to be the 25,000. That's going to be their number to get out. So they would have to add that. If Tilton were to withdraw and Northfield were to withdraw to make the district the member, I'm not going to leave $50,000 on the table, right? So is it a wash? Maybe, right? Because we still have a member, but there's still a $25,000 out for each. Now, if we fast forward 2 or 3 years, clearly we would have to amortize that, figure out what we've paid, what we haven't paid, that type of thing. And maybe that number becomes 20, I don't know. But if somebody were to join the district today, and this would make it difficult, but let's say a community south of here decided they wanted to join the district. Is it fair to the other 35 communities for them to not pay anything towards a $900,000 state-of-the-art radio system that's going to carry us for the next 20 years? They're going to get all the benefit, but they won't have paid for it. There's going to probably be a buy-in for that as well. So just using math, if they withdraw and Tilton withdraws and the district comes in, it seems repetitive, but I would probably want to look at some sort of a buy-in. The district's not the customer today. They haven't been the customer. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle that unfortunately would need to be looked at if anybody tried to make a move on this. And it's probably only because of where we are with the radio system and stuff like that it complicates it that much more. We don't have any other examples in the district of mutual aid fire district. We don't actually have any other mutual aid fire districts like Tilton Northfield Fire District within the district. Everybody is, with the exception of one area, everybody's pretty much, they're their own department. They do their own thing. If Northfield had its own fire department, Tilton had its own fire department, this wouldn't be a discussion with anybody except for Northfield, obviously. But because there's really 3 entities involved that create the Tilton Northfield Fire District, and then we're in there too, that's why I think we're all kind of having these discussions. Campton, Thornton, and Ellsworth, they have the Campton Thornton Fire Department, and they also serve the town of Ellsworth. The town of Ellsworth has about 80 residents, and if the budget goes up, you can literally count which person in Ellsworth is, not going to dinner that week because the budget went up or the tax. I mean, with 80 people in town, right? So that's probably what, 30 residents, 40 residences. They absolutely feel every increase, decrease, probably proportionately more than anybody else. But the Campton Thornton Fire Chief, when he comes to a board meeting, he has 3 votes because each of those 3 towns has appointed him as their director. So when I said earlier that each director has to vote really what's good for the district as a group, they also have to take into account what their community wants. And he will vote in the affirmative twice, and he'll vote in the negative once. Sometimes it'll be the negative twice and he'll in the affirmative once, because he's representing all 3 of his communities. That's kind of where we're at with representation, and Northfield has chosen to not exercise that right, unfortunately. I suggested to them at our meeting when I was with them that, in my world, I would recommend that they start to use that right, and have a seat at the table. They have all the right in the world to affect change on a budget or whatever they want to do with their position on the board, whether it's to vote no, vote yes. We all know how boards work, right? Their mind, they're just Northfield, and they're gonna, whatever they vote is gonna get whacked by whatever the other votes are. Sure, maybe. I've been involved in municipal government my entire life, and right or wrong, you have to believe in the system. And if I have a vote that I want to vote no on for something, certainly at home, I'll build consensus or state my case. So they're adamant. When we discussed it with them, they were adamant that they don't own a fire department, so they shouldn't be a member of the district. I think it's the wrong choice, but their choice. Obviously, an attempt to make sure that everybody here is aware of it, and the fire commissioners are aware of it as well. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Would you mind keeping us updated as our member?
Yes.
Please, on this, which way they're going? Oh, let us know.
That'll be
Okay.
a late Friday afternoon, like, hey, how's your 4th of July weekend getting ready to kick off? Because I got something for you. I will leave. So this is a spreadsheet. Kind of, I'll leave it for you, and
Yep.
you can make copies. Basically, this is what we use for the budget. So this will show you everything that each community pays, and I kind of told you the formula, but it tells you the formula, it tells you how they're affected by the formula. And then this one, I happened to leave it for Northfield. The fire commissioners didn't get it because they didn't ask for it, but you can certainly give this to them as both of these to them. This is just a sheet that says, it's my notes really, what the district, what Tilton Northfield Fire District would pay, what Tilton pays today, Northfield pays today, the
Great.
net loss, that's all. So
Yep.
I'll leave that. I'll leave my card. I'll leave a couple of cards if you want. If anyone has any questions, absolutely feel free to just give me a call or get with Chief Sitar, and we're happy to answer those questions or meet again if we need to.
Great,
All right?
wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thank
it
you.
so much.
Thank
Let me
you.
give this to you.
Mike, how are you? Good stuff.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
You want me to shut that mic off?
That'd be great.
No, because we got someone coming up.
Oh, yeah,
next, so
no, that's right. We got somebody.
Thank you.
Before we go on,
What's that?
before we go on to the next one,
Sure.
can we ask Jeannie to check in legally whether or not that, what can be done and what cannot be done? Do a little bit of research legally. Thank you. So the answer is yes.
What's that?
Jeannie caught it
is
coming in.
she
Yes.
can.
Jeannie says, I'm on it.
She went out that door and she came in that
Yeah.
door. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Needed to get her head turned around.
All right.
Titles.
Well, I just wanted you guys to get an understanding of it, and but no better than the head honcho. So it was very good.
It was good. Thank you.
No easy answer on that one.
No, there's not, and it's gonna have a lot, and I'm just
Yep.
waiting to see.
Yep.
All right. Next on our agenda is DPW Director Kevin Duvall with a nice department update. He's got no paperwork in his hand, so, and he put his phone in his pocket, so that means he has no notes.
It'll be pretty quick. Everything's going well. Okay, so the painting is, hello?
Hi.
It's been a minute. Painting is continuing. Thank you for giving me permission to do the additional blue next to the school. I think it really helps make them stand out. The guys completed that today, and they're going to continue doing the white throughout town, whether it be the walking man or the parking lines, things of that nature, as the weather permits. The other large thing that we're working on is the parking lot right outside here. That is slated to be done for the ribbon cutting next week. We'll haul in some ledge pack to tie it all in and stiffen it up. And so I wanted to mention that we collected about 320 yards of material from Midway's project. We didn't have to purchase any material to do the work out there. We did rent a material screener to screen out all the large rocks at the DPW garage so that we could haul it here and use it without any issue. So my plan out here was eventually, I would assume eventually that we will pave it. So it has been constructed as such. So when we do decide to pave out here, that the base is already there, it's already solid. All they have to do is come in, fine grade, compact, and pave. It's already done. So that was I consider a big win for the department, only because of the equipment that we're working with really isn't designed for such a project, but the crew did a phenomenal job with it, making it level and compact. We are continuing to haul the excess material out of here. There is a little bit left. I did get confirmation today that Midway is done with their project for the year. So there won't be any more free material. I still have about 120 yards-ish stockpiled at the shop for any further work that we might run into, whether it be fixing a roadside edge, ditch lines, if I need any work done at the DPW garage as far as building roads or making other areas usable by leveling it out. So it's there for us to use. The other aspect of this project out here is that we were actually able to collect from the top layer about 100 yards of loam. So that is now stockpiled at the shop as well for anything that we might need in the future. So it was a big project, but I consider it a win because it was all free material, and now it's all ours to use as we see fit in the future. I'm going to switch gears and go into the police fleet. We did have a couple of failures this past week with the detail rigs, only because of the use of the detail rigs the last few weeks, alternators, batteries, AC units, things like that. I consider it regular maintenance because they are older, and we are going to see failures the more we use them. But it wasn't anything catastrophic. It was, okay, we order the parts, the next day it's up and running again. So that was created a little bit of a chaotic atmosphere a couple of days this past week because we've had, it was just a logistical nightmare getting the rigs back to the shop so that I could address them and fix them and get them back in. Other than that, everything is going very well. John is still spraying the area here and the town hall until we decide not to continue that. The crew is in good spirits. Everybody is doing well. I have reminded them that next month is review month and that will be coming. Everybody seems to be, like I said, in good spirits and doing well. So it's been nice to work with a crew that is working well together. I've held off on progressing with the new hire situation only because I did reach out to another person that I know of that would be a good fit for the crew, and I'm waiting to hear back. So hopefully next week I will be able to come in and talk to you about that as well. So as you're aware, we've been collecting yard waste in town since I started on a yearly basis. We don't collect certain times of the year. It's an ongoing thing. During dump hours, during transfer station hours, people can bring their yard waste in. The negative side to that is we are actually running out of room to stockpile that material at the DPW property. In the past, we've burned what we can. It is illegal to burn leaves, so we cannot burn that, but we can burn the brush. But with the drought conditions, we've actually maximized our capacity for storage at the DPW. I wanted to talk to the board about something that was brought to my attention a couple of weeks ago. My parents have 30 acres of property in Gilmanton. And through conversations that I have with them, they know the situation that we have here in town with our yard waste. They've actually offered us use of their 30 acres as composting to haul our yard waste and let it rot, turn around, go back to Mother Nature. Leaves, brush, the ash, whatever's left over from when we do burn, things of that nature, and the giant grass clippings, the whole deal, what I consider yard waste. So that would be the large boulders, the grass, the leaves, the brush, if we can't burn it, all of that stuff. They have, like I said, they have 30 acres of it's a wooded lot that they've actually started to compost about 15 years ago when they moved there. All their branches and yard waste go to this. It's a landing, log landing, an old log landing. And they just offered it, said, you can use this property here if you need space to bring your yard waste. So I figured I would talk to you and see what you thought of that. I have thought about, there are some properties here in town that might take the yard waste. But to be honest with you, I wanted to avoid since I let you use my property for dumping, I wanted the free favors, the underlying situation that might come with a situation like that. Since I let you dump your yard waste on my property, I want to use the dump for nothing. You know, those scenarios pop into my head. Almost like if I was to open up the shop to do state inspections. Well, I pay taxes, I should have a state inspection, a free state inspection. You know, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I'm trying to think of all the angles involved with this. And like I said, I wanted to talk to you and see what you thought of it.
Go ahead, Pat.
What would be a general cost if you had a load? Would it be like a dump truck load that you would bring up? So would be one guy, two guys, one trip? What would be, it would just labor to go up with the truck?
It would be
How else is that?
labor to go with the truck. It's roughly 22 miles. I did clock it. 22 miles, and the trucks get around 6 to 8 miles to the gallon when they're loaded. So that would be an easy calculation. The other side of it is that I reach capacity and I just can't take the yard waste anymore. There is another side to this. Instead of paying a crewman to do it, where we have added costs with labor and fuel. Since myself, I have a CDL license and I am a salaried employee, I could take the burden to offset some of the cost.
Joe?
Your parents get out of this.
Nothing, just the satisfaction to know that they're helping me with the situation I have here in town and helping out the town.
It's okay to just kick back a dump truck and leave it, or do we have to spread it around?
No,
or-
my dad said that he would spread it out with his tractor. He's retired and he's
Oh, it gives
he's
him a
just
sand pile.
sand pile.
Yeah. Well, it's not sand, but
No,
it's
it's-
something he can move.
Oh,
He gets to play with the tractor.
So-
He gets to work on the tractor.
Yes. Like I said, I wanted to at least talk and make it, let it be known that this has been offered. I did speak with Jeannie in insurance wise. There would be an agreement written that all the parties would sign so that it was copacetic.
There's a cost involved. I'd like to just see what the cost is.
But we're out of room.
No, I
There's
get
a
that, but
problem there too.
Be a bigger cost with the residents not being able to drop things off and not being able to clear out, which means some of the sidewalk, some of the side roads or the corners of, I can particularly remind us of High and Chestnut, those bushes would not be cleared out and things like that, that would be a benefit to our town.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of I say go for it and then let's assess it in a couple of months and see where we're at. Jeannie's got something to
Jeannie
say.
has her hand up.
Yes, so when Kevin brought this idea to me, I did reach out to Primex. Concern for the liability of the town, and they said to me that the town would want to have an agreement in place with the property owners reviewed by local council, outlining the terms and requiring the property owner to hold the town harmless for this activity. He says that he'd note that pollution is an excluded cause of loss under the town's property and liability coverage. I would encourage the town to alert town council of that potential uncovered risk exposure. The town elects to allow for removal of yard waste to a private property owner to ensure appropriate protection is in place via the agreement. And Primex would take a look at the draft agreement for insurance indemnification purposes. So if this is something that you would want to consider, I would ask legal counsel to weigh in on it.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern would be, okay, we don't know what people put on their lawns and stuff like that. And, let's say your parents have a organic farm next to them, I don't know, or downstream, and all that chemical is gonna flow down into someone's yard and pollute it. That's a
Well-
concern that I have of, we don't know what people have on their yards and,
Mhm.
and, what happens to that.
So should I be collecting it at the DPW garage or
Well,
property?
That's wetlands.
Well, exactly.
no, I'm just asking what's our protection is, is someone gonna, all of a sudden now the town of Gilmanton's gonna come back and, you said it was Gilmanton, right?
Yes, Gilmanton.
That town's gonna come and sue your parents now for something, or issue a cease and desist or something, and now all of a sudden we're on the hook.
That's why we talked to the attorney.
Yeah. What about, I don't know, if you could let like, some residents in the wintertime, or some towns in the winter, let their residents come get, buckets of sand, for personal use, not commercial.
Mhm.
Joe can't come in, load up his salt spreader and go spread sand, but can we give that away to town residents during dump hours? Where they can come in and, for their gardens and whatnot?
Take yard waste?
Well, isn't it ground up, or is it composted?
No,
or?
it isn't even.
Oh,
ground
it's just
to
like
be
branches.
branches, leaves.
Okay, it hasn't been chipped.
We
or
don't have
anything.
the facility to do
Gotcha. All right.
the whole composting cycle.
Gotcha.
That would be nice.
Yeah,
Could come and get some wood.
yeah, I don't, well, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We have tons of wood there that I'm glad you mentioned it, because I encourage residents to come and take it.
Anybody that burns with wood.
Yeah.
Wood at the garage.
Jeannie?
I'm just curious, Kevin, what would it, is that something the town would want to consider, buying whatever is necessary equipment to create compost from the yard waste that then folks might want? I don't know.
The struggle that I have is the area needed to process the material, because we do have wetlands on either side. We are restricted with the amount of area we have to work with.
And it's a thing, and it costs money.
Has,
Yeah, bounded
right,
boundary is wetland.
right. Has the town ever checked with DES about, there's an allowance where you can take over wetlands if you give up wetlands somewhere else, that idea?
I don't think so, but we have two abutting properties that are on monitors.
John?
Because of the same wetlands.
One of the things is, even if we proceed and allow Kevin to take this load of what we have now, it's going to come back real quick. There's a lot, we have small lots, a lot of people that don't have room to compost. So if Kevin was to take some out with an agreement, a legal agreement on covering us for it, next year or a year and a half later, we're going to be in the same point. So if we decide in the future to go into composting or something like that, we still do it. We're still going to have more stuff coming. It's an endless supply.
Oh, no, yeah, it's an endless supply.
How many
Get back to
truckloads
zero.
are you estimating to have to clear it out?
With our 6-wheelers, 12 to 15,
Okay.
depending on
And
how.
so,
How much we got right now?
I could go more. That's just to reset the clock so we could collect for another couple of years.
wow. Okay.
But
In my experience, we've never taken that away.
No, as far as I know, no.
So it would last a while,
At least
not
since it's
just a
been,
couple of years.
at least since it's been at that location. How long has it been there?
But in the 10 years I've been around, they didn't move it. I don't
So
know.
the highway's been over the
We also
20 years.
restricted what we would take in as well. It was twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And one of the changes that I had initiated when I first took over was year-round collection. We were able to save on overtime because we didn't have a second guy for weekends tied up. As long as they stopped to see the attendant, they could go up, dump their yard waste, and then leave during regular dump hours. So that is added to our collection of yard waste, opening that up to the residents.
Didn't Nutter Pit over in Belmont used to take yard
Nutter,
waste?
exactly.
Do they still take it or no?
They do, they charge.
Oh, they charge.
$70 a truckload. I didn't look into that.
I would
And-
say have Jeannie look
Yeah.
into having a declaration drawn up and go from there and see
Okay.
if we can't clean up some of it. Grateful to your parents. Can't clean it up and then maybe, like John said, look to the future and
Oh, absolutely.
doing something.
Sure.
Your mom can thank us.
An
Bake us some
idea
cookies
was
for
to
getting your dad out of the
partner with
house.
Ag Center over at the high school on a composting system, but it just wouldn't get anybody enthused.
So
What about
there
the ag
was,
center in the wood?
what about?
The ag, coming up with something with the wood. If no residents need the wood, then how about the ag center in the wood? Don't they burn with wood over there?
They burn with pellets.
I
Those
thought it was,
boilers
I
get-
thought it was a combo.
So
Talking about the heating system at this high school? I thought it was wood
Not
chips.
the high school, but the ag, over
Oh.
at the ag center.
I don't know.
That
I
I
thought they
don't
were
know
on the
about.
same heating system, so I don't know.
So that kind of leads me into another direction. They do have what's called yard waste incinerators that I have looked into. They are very expensive, but that would be collaboration with Jeannie with grant money so that and it's an incinerator. So there is some strict regulations involved with it to help heat the garage at the DPW. But that, again, that's another entity that we would be instilling at the DPW garage to help offset the cost of gas and things like that. But that, like I said, that would be a projected plan.
Yep.
So there are some ideas that we can,
Yeah.
if we reset the clock and know that we have to make a conscious effort to make some changes, then that'll give us the time to do so.
Especially with grant money. Right.
I'd like to see the cost for both.
Hmm?
I mean, I like both ideas. I just,
Sure.
let's see the cost.
Okay. I could definitely generate some numbers and share it with the board. The other thing I would like to talk about tonight is the transfer station stickers. I was curious if I could get permission from the board to purchase them, design them and purchase them through the prison. I think we voted on going ahead with the dump stickers, but the struggle was figuring out where to hand them out, whether it's the town hall handing them out or myself at the DPW handing them out. I think we should start handing them out.
Well, Cindy orders them.
Okay.
Cindy's the one that orders them each year, is the dump stickers. And I thought she already ordered the new ones, but I just got a 2021, thought it was anyway.
Was there a spot for the for the license plate number?
I honestly can't remember. I just peeled it. Look at my car,
Yeah.
green.
I just registered 3 cars and I didn't get any.
Well, there's a struggle there.
Ask for 'em.
There's,
I know.
They
Oh,
were-
I didn't register.
but they, in fairness, they were not asked to give
I know,
them
but I
out.
thought they
Oh,
gave them out anyways.
It
when you
wasn't
register
asked
your
yet.
resident stickers. I don't know.
But she does order them, so
Hmm.
my, just to check back 1 second, John. Check back with her if they are not ordered,
Okay.
then, I mean, that's her department.
Okay.
That's all I was gonna say.
So
lived in the city of Boston while my wife was attending college. You had to have a resident parking sticker. One thing somebody pointed out to me, these stickers aren't stickers.
There.
You can take it and put it on the next guy's car.
Mhm.
So, you know, in this car or that car or any car,
There's no adhesive.
there's no adhesive.
Statically.
It's static. It's kind of a joke. And actually, a lot of them cost more that way, but regardless, you can write with them. And when I lived in there, my old cars, if you just write on the ones temporarily, you can
Okay.
get, it's harder to read them, but a
Okay.
Sharpie will write on them and you can
Okay.
paste it on. But once again, we still have that issue where they can be transferred. It's a good idea that we go to a sticker and, you know, might think we're putting too much into this, but we have things going on in neighboring towns with a lot of problems with trash and bring them in. And you don't have to have the guys at the Public Works having to examine, transfer it from here to there. You get a sticker that if I peel it off, it's going to get damaged. And you have to do it. Have the license plate number on it. And when you issue it, it gets put on the car.
Make it unique to us. It generic kind of thing.
Color and do that.
Yeah.
But I think if Kevin would do it, the guys would do it, I'd like to see it done there where somebody's going to see the car when it comes in and have the car and the sticker put on it. I know it's a little more work, but
Okay.
in the public work, in the town clerk's office, it's a little problematic because they don't really get involved. Plus, they're not going to see what vehicle goes on or anything. Really, this is a huge cost for our town. Huge cost for other towns, and we're going to start feeling increased amounts. I don't know if you've caught a few people without stickers or.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, the guys have been great. They've instructed, if we don't have the dump stickers, they've been instructing the residents to go to the town hall. And sometimes we don't see that person back at the transfer station.
Good.
Shows you that maybe they,
Big cost.
but then again, when we do have stickers, the guys have been checking credentials to make sure that it's legit, and they've been instructing residents to adhere them to the vehicle. Some residents have asked for numerous stickers, and my guys have been really good with, no, if you have another vehicle, bring that in next time. Show me that you have another vehicle, and then I'll give you another sticker.
They can
So we've
write
been
the
trying
Sharpie
to,
now.
exactly, we've been trying to really cut down on the abuse.
Jeannie had a question.
I do. So we're going to order new stickers that actually stick, that are not adhesive, or we're going to talk to Cindy about whether or not she's ordered them or not. But
I want you to take it, see if she'll let let Kevin just take it over.
so,
Be better.
so we've got the new stickers that actually stick and are not adhesive. When a resident comes in to ask for a sticker, we write down the license plate that's going on that sticker, and the sticker then goes on that car.
That you would have to ask Cindy.
But what, okay, so why, if Kevin's going to take it over, why would we ask Cindy?
Well,
I'm just trying to
so when they
understand the
come to
process.
register the vehicle is when you want that vehicle, the sticker,
To write the number.
right, the
So
number,
if
correct?
that's the case, then that wouldn't happen with Kevin, that would happen at the town clerk's office. That somebody would come in to register their vehicle, they would get the sticker that sticks, and the town clerk would write their driver's license number or their vehicle
If that's
license
what-
plate number.
Plate number.
Right,
License plate number on the sticker. But here's my question. So, oh no, never mind. I just answered my own question there. So they come into town hall, they get the sticker from the town clerk when they're registering the car, and the town clerk writes the number of the license plate on that sticker. And then that sticker goes on their car. And our guys at the DPW, when that car comes in, they check to see if that number on the sticker matches the plate on the car. Okay.
I think the key would be get with Cindy and say, this is our issue. We would like to be in conjunction with the town clerk, tax collector's office. Can we do this? We'd like to order new stickers that actually stick on the windows. And this is what we'd like to include. Would your office be willing to write down the license plate number and work with us? And then our DPW guys will check it when they get there. And I think it's a communication thing that you work together on. Because
So-
we can't just say,
So-
oh, they'll do it.
So at that point, if we switch over to that system, then people would not get stickers at DPW anymore because there's a process at town hall.
The only problem that you would come into is if this, if this happens, let's say in July, the end of July, and I registered my vehicle in May, I didn't get a sticker. So now you would have to notify the public to say, we have new dump stickers and everybody needs to get a new dump sticker. So
There would be a transition period.
you'd have to have that transition period, I would believe.
So for the first year or until then, they could also be issued at the Public Works Department. So when somebody shows up for that period of time with all their stuff,
There'd be a tax bill or a registration. 'Cause I assume people own multiple properties. You could have Massachusetts residents that have summer homes. So as long as they have a tax bill for property in Tilton,
We have lots of them. Yep.
or it could be a rental situation, a rental agreement.
both could be issued at both places for the first year, and then after that,
Ultimately, I think they would really cut down on the abuse and get everybody on the same page with this is our system.
Right.
We just upgraded our fees. We've got our new dump stickers and now we're good for the next.
Sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
Oh, I had a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
Wasn't gonna let you off the, just an observation,
Mhm.
the sidewalks at the traffic light in downtown, like, they're not all completed. So on Prospect Street, there's a stripe. On the park side of there's a blue sidewalk, but then on the bridge side, it
The
doesn't,
bridge side, there's nothing.
no, and then on the railroad track side, there's
Mhm.
nothing either.
They'll be back to button all that up.
Okay, so
Yeah.
those are our responsibility.
Yes.
Is there a way to make and I don't know if it's the state that has to do it, but when you're coming over the bridge, to make that left turn obvious, that you have to pull up to the white line, because the white line's pretty faded. And I see it every morning when I go to work, or most mornings when I go to work. You get someone that doesn't they pull up to the crack in the
Okay.
side, in the road. I think it's probably something to do with the bridge.
Mhm.
And they think that that's the trigger. And
Okay.
you look behind them and there's 30 cars behind them. And then you get that one guy that's PO'd and he comes roaring around, to trigger the light, unless someone comes down Prospect Street and triggers the light, and you get all these upset people because they're 10 feet short of the
stop line.
stop line. And I don't know if that's a state that has to paint that. I don't know if you paint it, but
If it's the Park Street intersection,
yeah.
we paint all of that.
What else was I gonna say? The intersection, I don't think you got it. It looks like they had done some pothole filling on Prospect,
Mhm.
but there's one right in the middle of when you make a right turn from High Street on the Prospect, and if you
Okay.
take a little wide, you hit it with your left.
They
front
didn't get
tire.
it the other day?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
They were instructed to hit all of them, so I'll remind them.
it's just,
Did you?
I hit it.
yeah,
Okay.
I see people, and sometimes, like this morning, there was a car parked on the Tilton School side of that intersection
Mhm.
road. I'm like,
Oh, yeah, there was
yeah, I'm like, whoa, that's,
mass plate.
yeah, it was like a silver car. I'm like, what are you doing here? And now watching that car and
Oh.
so
Okay.
that's, I'm like, all right.
I'll remind them.
No, that's fine. I just was curious.
No, it's a good thing. Yeah.
I wrote down sidewalks. I don't know why. Oh, that was the side I already talked to you about. I meant to write crosswalks.
I did ask the guys to add more walking man
Yeah.
emblems in this because there just wasn't enough. And there was a few that they had missed last year, so they are going to button that up.
I actually had some motorcyclists at my hotel that drove through Tilton, and they
Right.
commented on the blue sidewalks. So that was very cool to see. Did you have a question?
Yeah, a couple questions for Kevin. One of them is, I don't know if you saw it, or the rest of the selectmen saw it, but they're going to be paving on School
School
Street, I
Street,
guess. Yeah.
yes.
So they've got the sewer lids and they're raising them up
We raised them an inch and a half.
inch and a half.
Yes.
So when they go and they pave that, now, if they had an inch and a half, that's going to be above our curbs along Town Hall, and the water is going to be like deflected onto our sidewalk there.
Okay.
Are they
So
going to
they
address
should,
that?
they
Or-
should be coming in and grinding the edges so that when they do the inch and a half, it will come back to its original level. So they'll grind the edges in the stop line. So when they bring the inch and a half, it won't be any higher than the curb. But I will make sure that that happens. I see what you're
You
saying.
have to deal with it.
No.
Yeah, like they did in
Yeah,
front
that's
of
why we-
Planet Honda, they ground along the curb line.
Along
so
the
that
curb
it doesn't
lines,
go there.
so that
Yeah.
everything matches. That's correct.
It'd be nice if they pull those curbs up. But,
Yes.
And-
the next thing was, and before you got here, you have a good amount of loam down there.
Yes.
And one of the things is on the island, one of my pet projects is always on the island, you know,
Okay.
are the roots
Oh,
of the trees. And also it's very, very difficult to mow,
Mhm.
very difficult for you guys.
Sure.
You know,
it's a lot of handwork. Yeah.
a lot of handwork.
Yep.
So, and seeing it, you know, it's a lot of work to get the dirt from there onto the island.
Yes.
We could very easily somehow set up a wheelbarrow brigade there's volunteers, historical society,
Okay.
people who love the island, stuff like that,
Mhm.
and possibly down in like a section away from the bandstand where it's used a lot,
Mhm.
where the roots are bad, that maybe we could coordinate that some dirt dropped off and the
Oh, sure.
wheelbarrow brigade could bring it all over and rake it out
Mhm.
and not have you guys have to.
Well, so we don't have to handle it twice. We could always fill the truck and park it in place, lift the body and use the chutes
Mm.
and the tailgate so that you could fill the
Mm.
wheelbarrows from the chute instead of having to fill the wheelbarrow with a shovel.
And that would allow, because the people in town really want to help out with that stuff. And, you know, they really want to be part of it and
Mhm.
get things going. So,
Yeah, if something was arranged,
you know, in your spare time, Phil, how much dirt and how it would be, well, you know,
what's that?
how much dirt to
We
put
would
in
need,
there.
how much loam we would need to cover the roots.
To cover the roots. I would have to
Yeah.
take another look
Yeah.
and
Take a look and where would be a
Sure.
good section to start
Yeah.
now.
each
where
truck, truckload is about 6 yards to haul safely. So I'll take a look.
Wheelbarrow.
What's a
yard.
wheelbarrow?
Yeah.
That's maybe a quarter of a
Cubic
yard.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually, one cubic yard.
I
One,
think
yeah,
would be a
cubic,
great thing.
sure.
to involve people.
A lot of wheelbarrows.
A lot of wheelbarrows, but we do have to keep the weight down because of the weight restriction on the,
Yeah, so
on
many
the bridge.
wheelbarrows, it will space them out. Okay, go.
You can't have two full wheelbarrows on the bridge at the same time.
But,
So,
and I think it would be a great help for you guys to make it easier
Oh,
and
absolutely.
save the trees
And
from
it would look
getting,
nice. Yeah.
you know, damaged and allow community participation.
So I actually wanted to ask, has anybody seen the water fountain or the waterfall at Timetable Maple work?
I've not seen it work, but I've seen it.
So I did some research. There is some plumbing in there, but it looks like it had been pinched at one time. And so I'm having to reinstall a pipe in there so that it will work. I have the pump and the solar panel all ready to go. I just need to figure out the
That go in
plumbing.
the river?
What's that?
Does the pump go in the river?
No. It's a circulating pump. So whatever's in the bottom trough
Front has
I
it.
get it.
gets
Yep.
pumped
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
But I think at some point the top piece had shifted and pinched the line. So now it's so heavy, I don't want to shift it back and create more damage. So I'm just having to bore out a new hole and reline it. So that will
Why
happen
you're thinking of
shortly.
Moving up statue years ago.
Probably, yeah.
I've never seen it up there. I've cleaned out the drain and the
Sure.
sump a bunch of times, but
Yeah. So that was Jeannie's project that she asked me to work on.
Nice.
That and the water trough in the center of town as well. We're working on making that a fountain again.
Nice.
Spray
I
the
don't
cars
think
as
I've
they
ever
drive by.
seen that as a fountain.
I think
Yeah, I did check with Catherine and she said it used to be a functioning water fountain.
When? That was a long time ago, I
Yeah.
think.
You of all people should
I
remember.
grew up here. I don't think I
I
ever
know.
saw it run, but I didn't live here
you never
all my
looked
life.
back then.
Back in the day, we didn't have water.
Somebody fed the horses.
I
Just
do have
stand
a,
in the rain with your mouth.
No comment.
so I'm starting to meet with some contractors, concrete contractors about the retaining wall on Academy Street. In fact, I have a meeting at 6:30 tonight to go over the scope of work and start getting estimates on that. Projected, I did reach out to Beck and Belushi to get me a price on installing the steel pylons to hold the road back while we do the project. So that is coming together. I'm hoping that next couple of weeks I'll be able to come in front of the board with some real solid numbers and make some decisions.
Scott had a question first, and I'll go to Joe.
Kevin, I think this falls under the purview of the state. Where Clark Road intersects with Route 3, West Main Street, that light, the light where you'd be able to go straight or left, it won't pick up 1,100 pounds of weight.
Oh.
So
That's a state DOT. I've noticed that in the past.
I'm gonna let you know, just on my motorcycle. I went the other day. It won't trigger the pressure plate.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I have.
I can talk to the state when I see him next. Say,
Thank you.
adjust the sensitivity.
Yeah, it's 1,100 pounds. So
Maybe next year.
Currently, we have
I've run the
two
red light a couple
statues in
times.
the basement. Or maybe they're not in the basement.
They're at
Maybe they're
DPW garage.
DPW garage that several years ago we were going to have bases constructed, or we were going to set them up so they'd be safe so that we could display them ostensibly on the stage, but display them. And I was just wondering if you still had the sculptures, if you'd made the bases, or what was the,
I could probably.
Anybody?
Because Kevin and I, we
Yes.
got him ready. Mr. Nudd's been real busy. He's the one who said he would do it. And I've called him a few times and not
Walter?
here to do it. Yeah.
Went to school with Walter.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
You wanna give him that?
I don't know if it'll do any good, but I'd be
The other-
glad to.
And the other part of it is it's not a lot of work to put a piece of wood inside that base, with holes and some studs, maybe some shock absorber rubber bumpers
Sure.
to make it so it would pinch on it.
Yeah.
And a board. And what I'd like to do is clean it all first with the special stuff.
Well, there was one statue that we talked about maybe laying down because it is in such rough shape for display. But the other one that is partially standing could be on display.
How they're displayed isn't as important as displaying them, I don't think. And that question is that's a courtesy to John Cirillo.
Okay.
He's always asking.
No, they're safely tucked away at the DPW garage until we can,
Okay.
until something further develops.
Mr. Nudd was doing this out of the kindness of his heart, right? Maybe if it became a job, he could fit it into the schedule.
Okay.
I don't know, but
it's-
we've waited
It's a
2
pretty simple
years.
thing. I don't know if you'd be interested in doing it or
I'd-
if, with some Pat's help, it's simplest thing.
Well, I'm wood challenged, so there's no way.
We have a
You can
woodworker
design
at
it,
the
come up
school.
and take some hardwood from my shop.
You have some hope?
Scott?
Pat, it might not be a bad connection to make with
Oh,
Mr.
The
Thiel.
fancy little guy. Oh,
So
he's got
with David
tools.
Thiel.
Yeah.
So,
I saw him.
Well,
today,
that would
too.
be wonderful
be a
to
good
bond.
question.
That would be a bonding thing.
So if I go this weekend, go down there and clean it, so it's all nice, clean, prepared. Would be okay if it was brought to Mr. Phil's shop to go and have that made.
I would say yes. I'd love to get that done. They're wasting away in the basement.
They're not in the basement.
At the DPW.
Wasting away.
And so consensus, it's okay to.
Are we
allow
gonna go
Mr.
with
Start the
Thiel?
process.
Tilton, or we having Kevin do it?
Well, I think, unless Kevin really wanted to, I think Mr. Thiel would be a community.
If he would like to do it, I mean, I'll do it.
Well, we
But
asked
I am a
him.
busy.
Yeah,
busy
we'll
guy.
have to, we'll have to check with him. The only hitch in the giddy up might be access to his woodworking shop because it is at the backside of the mansion with the work that's starting on the mansion. I don't think it'll be a rub, but
I think it would be time and
it could be time with him too. Yeah.
Check
would
with
be
him. If
him
not,
doing it, not
maybe,
the students.
I could-
I'll give it a go. Sure.
Unless you
Make
could wrangle day students.
I'm just planting seeds here.
We have some nice loam to plant those seeds, so.
That
That
was,
all
that was
went
it for me.
together.
That was
We
the
might have
the
compost
questions on
soon, too,
the
so.
wheelbarrow patrol and
Okay.
like, oh no, school's
Mix it in with the loam.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Anybody else have anything for Mr. Duval?
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Enjoy the warm weather.
So much.
Few more
Actually,
months.
a nice little tidbit. So my salt shed is empty. The DPW salt shed is empty. We're taking down some of the boards and getting ready to fire up my sawmill. And we're going to saw up the wood that was brought to the yard by, remember Eversource came in with Asplund and took the trees down?
Mhm.
I'm going to saw up some lumber and we're going to
Portable sawmill?
yeah,
Can I come watch?
Sure, absolutely.
They're
It's
fun.
parked at the shop. I'm going to saw the logs into 2-inch boards and we're going to reline our salt shed with it.
Nice.
It's
Well, now get
handy.
rid of all of those trees
Fantastic.
that you got there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can we just continue and keep cutting?
Sure.
And then I can, as a resident, take
You-
some of that home?
Go for it. Why not?
You say earlier that residents could
wood.
take wood.
Would, but I mean, if
Yeah.
we just cut it.
$22 for 3 2x4s now.
Gee whiz,
Yeah, maybe we can
yeah.
get in the lumber business and then lower. our
Okay,
tax
Ben.
bills.
Okay,
All right. Thank you,
Kevin,
Kevin.
thank you.
Watch. Just let me know when.
I'll let you know. Thank you.
Having gone on through the selectmen's report, we'll now jump ahead to the town administrator's report. Jeannie, the floor is yours.
So I provided you all a copy of my report via email, and also you have a hard copy with you. The police chief employment contract, I gave you a copy of that. I have the original here, and Corey has signed it. And
I didn't see the copy.
There wasn't one in here.
no, I sent it to you. I
Oh.
have the original right here.
Oh, for us to
Yes,
sign.
yes.
I didn't know if you wanted to discuss it.
John Hancock, maybe there.
I read it online.
Okay, so if you're good with that, pets in the workplace policy, actually it should say pets in town hall. I did make that change from last week. And following up to see what the board would like to do,
I'll make a motion, we accept the pets and
town hall.
town hall policy.
I'll second it.
That's the only change
Yep.
is pets in town hall.
Well, no, you had asked, if you remember, we changed the language of If a pet becomes overly aggressive, their
Yep.
owner, will be prohibited from bringing it to the, so I separated out the two sentences.
I see.
I didn't get to see it. Didn't open it. I can't open that type of mail. I got on my phone today.
Sentences. The, and led with the sentence in the front that says town hall is the only municipal building where pets are allowed.
We have a consensus to,
There's a motion on the floor.
oh, I didn't hear the motion. I'm sorry.
You made it, didn't you? Oh, Pat made it.
Oh, yeah, I second it. All right.
Second.
Sorry. John?
So if we want employees and visitors to feel safe in the workplace, employee or visitor has concerns with problems resulting with the pet at town hall, they follow this process. Talk to the pet's owner to resolve the problem immediately, or file a complaint with town administrator. So back page.
I made all the changes that you asked me to make last week when you reviewed it.
Any other discussion? All right.
So this, I'm just going over it. So there is no liability release or anything. So the town assumes liability and they're not required to show what licenses, shots, liability.
I don't have a copy in front of me.
No
So.
public events that dogs sometimes serve, show that they have their shots, proof of it. Does our insurance company support this?
I had brought that forward to you 2 weeks ago that I had the discussion with the insurance company. And it was a result of that conversation that the pet policy was drafted.
That covers, they're satisfied with this policy? They've seen this policy? and approved
Our third week with it.
So do you
it? Well,
agree?
it's a pretty big thing, you know.
We've had opportunities to do it. Jeannie's presenting the final copy to us that it was reviewed last week. It was reviewed the week before.
You can be a no, John. You don't have to vote yes.
Just pointing out some things because I think people need to realize the life involved in this, how people to bring pets to town hall, dog. Unsafe condition in any way to the residents who come into town hall to pay their taxes or their cars, that is the first priority.
Agreed.
In their agreement that they signed, my pet has been fully vaccinated.
All right, see,
Paper we got the other day.
I think that should have proof, should be on file.
Well, they have to sign it.
It's on the part that they, as the pet, that
The pet owner has to sign it.
that has to sign
Mhm.
to be able to bring their pet into town hall.
Right.
Copy of it on file. If somebody does get bitten, they can.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the pets in the workplace policy, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-2.
The next item on, under action items is spraying town buildings. You wanted to think about it a week, and John, as Kevin mentioned, John continues to spray. He can continue to spray if you want. Just asking the board, I guess, confirm or not whether you want to continue.
Joe?
I would like to continue spraying common areas, front lobby, where we get the majority of our people, and I would like to continue spraying this room. Because we have a lot of people coming in and out, and we don't require masks anymore, and our numbers are down in the state, but they're not zero.
I'm with Joe.
Scott, was it you who said last week about the residence time? Was that you who said that? I thought somebody said something about the COVID.
On hard surfaces?
Yes.
Yeah, it just, I mean, just the research that's been out, I know the last 6 and 9 months is that just passing it on hard surfaces is, it's a rarity.
Mean to sign that. I thought it was the employment contract. Duh.
So I'll tell Kevin to continue spraying.
That would be
Consensus?
my vote,
Well,
but
not
I'm only
everybody's
one
weighed in.
person.
Yeah.
Right, I said yes.
I don't think we need to continue to spray surfaces. I think it's with everything on the decline, everyone should be wiping down their work areas, counters and things like that multiple times during the day. When they're, if they have someone in, they should be wiping the counter down anyways. And I don't think it lasts, in my own opinion, doesn't last very long on it's not transmitted. That's my own personal opinion. Scott?
I think we're at a point where we can discontinue because they've found that the spread by aerosol is far more prevalent than it is on hard surfaces.
John?
Yeah, I don't see, I look at everywhere else that everybody goes and everybody touches and that I think it's futile for us to just continue doing it when people have shots and they've done it and people wipe down. Have our cleaning service that comes through.
All right.
There you go.
So there's consensus as to,
I was just going to read the statement from the CDC on the website. The principal mode by which people are infected with SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, is through exposure to respiratory droplets carrying infectious virus. It is possible for people to be infected through contact with contaminated surfaces or objects, formites, but the risk is generally considered to be low. That's just their opening stuff, and obviously they go into the specifics of it in the rest of the article.
so the consent,
You want the numbers? It was formite transmission route is low, generally less than 1 in 10,000. Okay, 1 in 10,000 from surface contact.
people. Okay. I didn't know there was like some spray droplet ratio that I was trying to figure out. All right. So it sounds like the consensus is to stop. So we will,
You'll see in the FYI, I did follow up with Alan Hanscom about the work that's going to be done there near the river. He says, well, you'll see that it's ways off if it's going to happen at all. So this year.
on that. I was just going, when I brought it up last week, it was just what Chief Setar had presented, so.
That's all I have unless anyone has questions for me.
Are we still on for the forum on the bicycles?
That will be on July 8th.
July 8th?
That'll be very good. I actually saw last night or the night before, one of our officers, what's the place where the old post office is?
Family
Family
resources.
Family Resource. There's a police car there, and he had, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 bicyclists there, and they were talking. It was nice to see.
I called them on my way home from work last night. I was stopped at the stop sign, and there were 2 cars in front of me, and it was a green light, and nobody was going. And I couldn't understand why anybody was going. And I leaned out my window to look, and there were 6 bikers doing wheelies in the middle of the circle, in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't allow anybody to go at all. No traffic either way, from the bridge, from either way of Main Street or Prospect Street. And so I called here to the PD and said, traffic is not moving. It's not going anywhere.
Maybe it
And-
was last night. What time
and-
was it?
Just about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
Oh, no, this is later in the day.
And when the policeman showed up, the traffic started moving. So it was very difficult. We were there probably for about at least a good 5 to 10 minutes. We were stuck in traffic because they were doing wheelies, and there were 5 of them. And then they had an entourage of kids on the watching by the railroad side of the fence.
Hopefully we'll get a resolution to that at some
Yeah.
point soon.
I have never witnessed it before, but I did last night.
I watched it this morning. In front of the old bank, there was a girl walking on the sidewalk, and there were 5 guys doing wheelies going down the sidewalk. So
I've seen them in passing, but you never know, the wheelies that they're talking about. But I actually witnessed them in the road causing harm and danger.
crazy.
Yep.
All right.
I have a question. I don't know can we check to make sure that the Conservation Commission did get their copy of this? Can we check to make sure? Because I didn't see it come up in the agenda for the meeting that's on Monday.
It may have just come out. I don't know. What's the date
What's
on
the
it?
date on it, John?
17th,
Today? Yeah, they always get a
might be
copy.
at, yeah, but might be at town hall on, well, what happens is they send it to town hall and it sits in a mailbox. Somebody might know it came in. They only meet once a month and next Monday is their next meeting. Missed it.
All right.
Can I see that after you?
Is there any, so Gina, you all set? Is there any new business to come before this board?
Yeah, I do have some. I recently sent out some pictures of cutting of trees in wetlands again on Bittern Lane on the Ice House Pond. And the trees were topped and branches were cut off along there within the wetlands. It's a concern that we are not being good stewards of our wetlands. It's in our master plan. We have a conservation commission. They notify them within 5 days of doing it. Got a notification gone out to them, and they just went in there and started cutting in the wetlands. Not doing anything about it. We're all turning blind eyes to all of this that continues to happen, and these are spots for the herons and other wildlife and trees that are down there. And ignoring it and just letting it continue to happen.
I saw an email that said that they had permission from the DES to do this.
Not. How you guys can.
They don't
say
have
I'm-
permits?
No, I did not include it. Not that I saw. I didn't see anything. I looked at it, and there's also on the conditions of their other work, it wasn't the scope of that work. It was not included the cutting of the trees in the wetlands. And number two of the other thing, because we had a whole package on it, was that they're supposed to notify the Conservation Commission within 5 days of starting work. Silt fencing is supposed to be in place and all those. We continually turn a blind eye to this. The Conservation Commission has asked the Board of Selectmen to talk to them about these problems. We have told them, no, we will not talk to them. This is our master plan, and this is continuing and continuing.
Well, hold on 1 second. I take offense to that. Because if the Conservation Commission has a problem with the cuttings that are going on right now and in a violation and claim that there's a violation going on, there's a process. They are more than welcome to sit here and come before us and show us that what you're saying to us right now, that the cutting in the DES permit that we're being told that they have is not in the scope of work. Well, that's a whole different animal, and we could probably go into non-public about this because we can't go any further than that. Then the conservation should be sitting in front of us saying, hold on a minute, I think there's a communication problem here. There's a violation here. We need to take care of that in order to be good stewards of it. But to claim that we're not being good stewards of it when we're being told something different is entirely disrespectful to me, because I want to be a good steward. And if I'm being told one thing and it's different, I want to be pointed out why it's different. If you have that information in front of you to show us that it is different, then bring it out. And I would recommend that we go into a non-public session in order to bring that out now, because I'm sure we'll be talking about employees.
All right.
I don't think a violations of the wetlands ordinance is reason to go into non-public session.
The information that we got came from employees, and then we are not going to be arguing back and forth whether it's truthfulness or not.
I should think we wouldn't be arguing about the truthfulness of it at all. Now, obviously, there's a communication issue here somewhere. John says that there's one set of things. The town representative says there's another set of things.
And there's a big communication
But
gap here. Someone
I
has to
don't think
figure it
that's
out.
solved in non-public session.
Somebody has to figure this out because somewhere along the line, the information is not getting to this board correctly. That's the issue. And if you're sitting here as a board of selectmen and you have that information, bring it to us.
On all of the plans for everything that's there, it's in our wetlands ordinance. We have ordinances on setbacks and buffers. You can look it up on your computer and you should know it. You should know these things. 20 feet. And when you're cutting stuff in waters and you look at that and you can't tell me that you can see 20 feet that a tree was cut within 20 feet of the wetlands,
Actually, they're in the water, I think.
they're in the water.
Not when I've been told that they have a DES permit.
Would the DES permit trump our
Believe it would.
our local ordinances
it
or whatever?
would.
If they have a DES, whatever, wetlands permit on file from that plan, then that would be on file. I don't know. I don't have the details of that permit. Maybe that's something
No,
that
once
could be.
again, we talk blindly and
I'm not talking blind. I'm telling you, this is a fact. And
I don't have the facts.
I don't have those. I do not receive copies of those.
I
do
don't
not have
mean
them.
to disrespect anybody,
It's
but I don't have the
disrespectful to
facts,
me.
John. I looked at a DES permit. I've been
You know,
told
For
that
next meeting,
this.
somebody show me where it's okay. That's all.
Well,
And then
why don't
I'll
you
do it.
show us where it's not okay? You're a selectman. You're a selectman with
They
us.
don't-
Show us where it's
Pat,
not okay.
Pat, they do not file for permits to me as a selectman.
But you're a selectman. Show us where it's not okay.
I am letting you know that there's a violation. If it's not a violation, then show me the permit. I don't have them. I don't have them at home. I do not receive them. I'm telling you, it's a violation.
Can we get copies of those permits for next week, Jeannie?
Sure.
And if they're not all encompassing, we'll discuss what we do then.
We'll get the information.
There's also, just for your information, you saw the stack of wood chips? No doubt, you can see them from the street. I was driving back from Coles and there's another one just like it out back. I don't know where it seems like there's more trees cut than were evident to generate that many wood chips. I don't know.
And there's no silt fencing and all
If-
that.
Well, that there is.
If in fact they're in violation, perhaps maybe Chuck would be willing to come in and explain to us what the violation is. If we're being told just the opposite, and please invite Chuck in to the Board of
Chuck,
Selectmen
this
and
comes from
ask
me.
them,
This comes from me.
if there's a violation. But you've mentioned several times about the Conservation Commission. So I'm sorry, either you're representing the Board of Selectmen or the
I'm
Conservation,
telling
John.
you, for me, I drove by, I saw it, Joe, you saw it, everybody else saw it. I sent you the pictures. I took the pictures, I saw it.
I'm not
Told there's a
questioning whether
permit.
I'm not questioning that, John, but I'm trying to figure out whether there's a violation, not a violation. One set of people over here is saying there's not a violation. One set over here is saying there is a violation. I would like some documentation to tell me whether it is or it isn't. That's all. I'm not blindly going to say, oh yeah, well, John says it is, it is. Oh,
See,
well, they say, no,
well-
it's not. No, I can't do that.
Uh,
It's not who I
Do
am.
they mail me or send me copies of all the permits that are issued?
They do to the conservation, and you've been on the conservation for 20 some odd years.
I'm saying there is none. Don't have them. It's a
Let's
wetland.
Then we have a
let's
bigger problem.
ascertain that for a fact, that there is no permit. If she can't produce a permit, we have an issue, and we'll take it up from there.
Guess
Absolutely.
we get all the information from the land use office regarding that
And if we don't have it, I sincerely would like the Conservation Commission to come in and help us out here.
So we'll get that for next week, Jeannie. Thank you.
But if
much
they
oth-
just
how much other
blatantly
stuff-
cut down trees without a permit, I would be in favor of throwing the entire book at them.
Let's just talk about it when we have the facts in front of us,
There's no use in speculating.
right?
All right. Any other new business? We have non-public to go into. Sorry. He was
I didn't see it on the,
it's on the backside of my notes.
I didn't see it on the agenda.
I sent you all an email later on
That I
today.
didn't see.
So as
Okay,
you,
then.
as you know, things change throughout
Oh,
the
yeah.
day
Oh,
and
yeah.
So,
And it
Um,
changed.
all right.
They
So
changed.
the time being, you're making me do math. 6:41. I make a motion to enter non-public session per RSA 91-A:3, Roman numeral 2A, the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her unless the employee affected, one, has a right to a public meeting, and two, requests that the meeting be open, in which case the request shall be granted. We expect to be back in the public session at approximately 8 p.m. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Second by Scanlon. Roll call vote. Pyra, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Ellen, yes.
Yes, man, yes.
Oh, yes. We are in non-public.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right. I'll make a motion to come out of non-public, which we did. Second. All those in favor say aye. All right,
Aye.
sorry. I make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public meetings number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6 of June 17th, 2021, because the reasons justifying the need for the non-public session still remain.
Second.
Motion to second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. The time being 8:42, I make a motion
Mike
to
on
adjourn.
that, Joe.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned at 8:43 p.m. And you have to stop the recording, Jeannie.